Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. My name is Tanay All, and I'm an anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry veterans to come together to share their knowledge, ideas, thoughts, and best practices with one another, as well as with upcoming industry leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings of all our industry leaders. We hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leader interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders, as great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone, right? They help us to identify, nurture, and work on trade secrets that have already proven a success formula for so many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge sharing community. We have one such industry giant on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Nikhil Sahani. We welcome you on the show, sir.
Yes. Thank you so much.
He is an expert professional with leadership roles and significant contribution in the fields of architecture, project management, and academia, along with an exemplary nearly 2 decades of career. He owes his prowess to his postgraduate architect degree in construction project management from Napier University, Edinburgh, and accreditation as an Indian Green Building Council accredited professional. His current role as an assistant professor at Atlas SkillTech University, one of India's largest private universities, reflects his commitment to imparting knowledge in interior design. He is actively involved in designing course content and teaching across all years. He has also served as the director of Elpis Projects Consultants Private Limited since January 2014, steering the organization's architectural and interior design projects alongside contributions to project management, construction, and green building consultancy. So, Mr. Sahani, to begin with, our viewers would like to know in brief about your current role with a retrospective on your prior roles.
Right. So, thank you for having me here, Tanay, first. Then at the moment, I'm actively involved in 2 roles. One of them, and the first one being director of my company, which we started along with my father in 2014. So, prima facie, we are a project consultancy company in the construction industry. So, we undertake projects as standalone consultancy projects or contracting projects or turnkey projects. So by turnkey, I mean that we do design, execution, project management, everything in-house. So basically, we are the one point of contact for the client. The client doesn't need to approach anyone else once we are on board. So that's one major aspect of my role right now. The other aspect is that, like you said, I am involved in academia as an educator. So I began my journey in academia around the same time when I started my company in 2014. And it was a very conscious decision because when I started my business, there was always this thing at the back of my mind that there has to be some stable source of income. So although academia started as a means of having a stable source of income, it has eventually evolved into a very passionate part of my daily life apart from my business. So in fact, the passion for academia has increased so much that I also have a standalone business now with respect to preparing students for competitive exams. So that's one more aspect of the academia which I have kind of converted into my business model now. So now, having taught across most of the colleges in Bombay, as in capacity as an educator, right now I am focusing only on in teaching certain niche subjects like entrepreneurship skills, contracts, and design to the students. So in hindsight, I've been working in the industry. I've been part of the industry for the past 20 years. So I have worked in different capacities, right from being an architect to being a project manager, to being a head of the projects, and then now being a director of my company, right? Apart from being an educator. So all the experiences which I've gathered in those 20 years in these different capacities, they have kind of helped me be where I am with respect to all the things which I do today, right? Although I don't have to get involved in the day-to-day activities of the project. I'm more on the overlooking part of things, but when it comes to it, right, when certain projects need a certain push right now, and then you have to get involved, the senior management or top management has to get involved at that time. All those learnings with respect to efficient use of resources, problem solving, all those things come into the picture, and they kind of help me take care of what I'm doing right now in academia as well as in my business.
So given the multiplicity of roles and responsibilities you have handled, which of them have you enjoyed the most and which have you found most challenging?
Very honestly, all the projects I have worked on, all the roles and responsibilities have been challenging because the industry which I work in, construction industry, although every project might look like a straight off the bat commercial or residential or architectural project, there are a lot of these nitty-gritties which keep changing, and every project has its own challenges. But having said that, in my capacity as an employee and as a owner of a company, I have dealt in projects which right from 1,500 crores residential projects, high-end ones, to 10 crore clubs and music recording studios, right? Of all the projects I worked on, the two most challenging were, the first one was where I was the head of the projects of one of hospital chains in Bombay. The chain is across India, but I was a part of the hospital which was in Bombay, right? And the problems or the challenges there rather were more with respect to the capex and opex budgets, right? So capital expenditure and operational expenditure. So the issues there were slightly different. I mean, every designation, every role you play have their own set of challenges apart from the projects, right? So the challenges here for us being a hospital were first how to manage the capex and opex, and the second part was since it was a working hospital, all the projects which were done had to be done taking into account that patients are already going to be there in the hospital, right? So how do you do projects which are civil in nature, right? The dust and everything. So the post-op care is extremely critical, right? So that was a different skill set required altogether to having those kind of projects executed without the patients or the end users getting affected. So that was challenging. The other project which was challenging, I would say, would be I was designing a flagship store for one of the high-end jewelry stores in Bombay. The owner is not here anymore, so he had a G+3 store in Kala Ghoda in Bombay, right? And the challenge over there was he did not want the store to be shut down when the interiors were going on. So we had to wait for the store to close in the evening. We had to start our work at around 6:37. The work is to go all through the night. And it was a team of 40-50 odd people who were working through the night because it was like a 3,500-4,000 square feet area spread across 3 floors. And the only thing which the owner was very specific about is that when my people open the store in the morning, it should not look like there was work going on through the night over here, right? And that was a different dynamic altogether, right? Because you're catering to high-end clients, for people whom small things make a difference in life, right? Catering to that kind of clientele, and actually no one came to know that there are a team of 40 people, right? Blue-collared people working through the night, and the store is to be spick and span. You would not make out that there's an interior job going on. So they were the two challenging projects which I have.
So what are your professional life's learnings that you'd like to share with our viewers who are future leaders in the corporate space?
So the first thing I would share is that a good working ethos kind of goes a long way, right? So this is something which I come from a business family. So I am the 7th generation architect in the house, right? So we are born and brought up with only one thing in mind, that we do get into business, but when we do, profits and losses is something which keeps happening as a nature of the business. But a good working ethos with respect to the whole business has to be a constant throughout, right? And I have seen this with my father, I have seen this with myself. that the recall value of the client increases significantly if you have a good working ethos, if the clients observe that you've got a good working ethos in your work. That's one. The second thing is consistency and persistence. They go a long way too. So there have been so many cases. I mean, if I look back, right, maybe when I was in my 20s, I would have never thought something possible, right? So just being consistent and persistent with your objectives, and you 100% achieve that. There's no other way around. If you put in the work, you get your due. Third important thing which I realized is that because I'm an architect, predominantly an architect, we are so focused on design that in business, we forget that a design is only as good as the execution, right? So it doesn't matter how good a design you have, if you can't justify that quality in your execution, the design, the value of the design diminishes significantly.
Yeah.
That's the third thing. And I think the last most important thing which I've learned is people generally have self-doubts, right? Everyone in the business, you might be in business, you might be in work, there's always going to be a component of self-doubt, right? Most people which I have seen, whom I have met, the self-doubt aspect is considered to be in a negative part or a problematic part, right? But for me, I have this is the way I behave. I deal with self-doubt is that I find self-doubt as an opportunity for learning, for relationship building, and for developing your subordinates and your employees. If you acknowledge that you have self-doubt, I think the main problem is people don't like to accept the fact that they are having doubts or they're having self-doubts, right? You're second guessing yourself. No one likes to do that. But if you do acknowledge it, I think it can be channeled properly and contribute towards you being a better leader.
Very well said, sir. Sir, how and when did you develop an interest in ESG and corporate governance?
So, way back, I think just when I started my company in 2014, I was working with one of the bigger corporates who used to deal in perfumes. And although I was not a part of the ESG team or the CSR team that time, but a few discussions which came up during my meeting were that the flows had to be taken care of in a certain way. There had to be certain treatments done to prevent percolation of chemicals in the soil and stuff like that. So that kind of piqued my interest with respect to the attention that people were giving to certain basic factors which many would overlook, right? And then I studied it a bit more closely, and then going forward, I got a chance to execute a couple of CSR projects for them. So I think ESG was 15 years back. ESG was not as not in demand maybe, or not as well. People are not as aware of it the way they are right now. So I think that time it was more of CSR and a couple of other environmental aspects which were there. But I think so that brought out my interest quite a bit, because one of my backgrounds being green building professional, right? Lead AP. So that created a lot of interest for me with respect to understanding the sensitivities that corporates were showing with respect to these issues, because generally corporates focus is more on profits, right? So having that human side to corporates where they're taking care of these things was very heartwarming, and I think that kind of got me interested, following up with the progress of how eventually CSR and all those things have developed into something as unified as ESG. So that was interesting. And then coming across Directors Institute, where there was a very formal and structured way of going ahead with it, right? So it's like this, people generally compensate for lack of formal knowledge with experience, right? Many times in my industry they do, in construction industry. So I think those people also would benefit greatly for something like an ESG, which you guys, which Directors Institute has, because it gives them a very structured and formal way of addressing things or resolving things, I think. So that's how I got interested in corporate governance in ESG.
So as an ESG and corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table?
So I think a few years back, although board of directors were generally aware with respect to these issues, right? Like I said, there was no structured or formal way of addressing them. I think what I would bring to the table is the fact that purely because of my experience and the structured know-how which I have right now, I think able to take care of issues which arise and having the command to maintain a certain fluency while addressing them. They're two different things. Okay, that outlook changes a lot. That's one. I think an ESG expert has, like me, would have the aptitude to focus or the outlook to focus on certain aspects which might get missed out by other members of the board, which generally happens because they have a lot on their plate, right? So it's difficult to focus on everything with the same level of integrity or with the same level of attention. So I think me being in the picture makes it easy for them, so they can focus on their aspects which are equally important as well. So I think that's one thing, and I think I would help the company progress not only with compliance but also with efficiency, innovation, and growth. Because I mean that's one aspect of ESG as well, right? So progress with respect to efficiency, innovation, and growth. So I think that's what I bring to it.
So what are some of the most remarkable changes you have seen in your field with respect to changes in technology? And what changes do you expect to see in the future with the advent of all these new technologies like IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, Web 3.0, etc.?
So this is quite interesting, right? So I come from a generation, although I'm not too old, I come from a generation which has used floppy disk, right? So okay, anyway, so what I've realized is that since the initial days of my career, I think technology has come a long way. When I say technology has come a long way, I just don't mean that there have been advancements, but the affordability aspect of technology, the accessibility aspect of technology has changed a lot. So, for example, something as simple as transfer or sharing of data during a few years back, right? Could be productivity-based files, could be some emails, could be anything across, right? And there was always a chance of data corruption. So for all the projects I work on, we always recommend NAS storage to all our clients, right? So with NAS storage, NAS storage as they call it, the sheer convenience of you having your in-house cloud or in-office cloud. So everything with respect to data is accessible to every single device. There's no need of connection of any kind of portable storage devices, because many companies, if I've worked partly in the IT sector as well, they have issues with respect to portable storage devices being carried in the compound, right? So NAS storage is something which I have seen and which I continuously see improving with respect to technology, and it's a big boon. It's a big boon. To give you another example, I think 15 years back, having something like home automation, right? So this is the part where I'm talking about IoTs, right? So home automation, I remember this. It is still a very premium tower back in South Bombay. It's 60 stories high, and home automation was such a big deal that time, right? So we used to have a home automation consultant, right? He used to come and then all the lights and dimmers, and it used to be the whole ching bang, right? A group of people coming and focusing on lighting and curtain and stuff like that. And it was not only required such a specific set of people to work on it, it also required a lot of finances. So it was, things were unheard of that time for the common society, right? It was something only which was meant for the top tiers of the society. So what I've seen now is that if you see the tech landscape over the past 5 to 6 years with introduction of AI assistants like Alexa or Siri, and that coupled with devices which you get which are Wi-Fi based or Bluetooth based, right? You have got lights, you have got curtains. I mean, a typical house nowadays would have, from our experience with interest projects, is around 25 to 30 devices, right? So you've got CCTVs, you have got maybe your mesh network, you have got NAS, you have got laptops, TV, everything is connected to internet, right? And now you have devices where you just walk in the house and the lights start, right? And it does not require any significant neither financial input. That's what I mean by accessibility, and they can be done. I mean, you don't even need IT or programming knowledge to get those algorithms straight, right? It's just something which you feed into your Alexa app, and I think that has made technology very accessible and easy to everyone in all aspects of the industry. Now, coming to academics, I think I would like to speak about academics because I've seen the way we used to struggle as students, right? We had to go to a library and then issue a book, and it was a whole different game back then. And the shift within the past 3 years with respect to academics as well, where students getting information on Google is a different aspect altogether, but they're having information which is segregated and compartmentalized with things like ChatGPT, right? That's phenomenal. I think that's phenomenal. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? But I would just like to look at the positive aspects of it, and they're massive. They're massive, right? I had to do presentations for my clients sometimes. It's a personal experience. I had to do presentations for my clients or for the students, either ways. And general 10-page presentation, which would take me around, on a good day, it would take me around 1.5 hours to 2 hours. With AI, it takes 90 seconds. All I have to do is put in 5 or 6 prompts, and it picks up images, it picks up text, it formats the whole thing, and it makes the file ready for me, right? So I think that is phenomenal. You have got real life usage of AI and even machine learning as well, right? So I have had a chance to look at projects where buildings are designed, they're called as smart buildings. So everything in the building is automated. So there's very less physical input required, and right from the room sensing the heat and the temperatures and the occupancy, it automatically configures the lighting requirement, the humidity requirement, the air requirement. If you have got smart glasses in the windows, it takes care of the tint colors of the smart glasses as well, right? It's really brilliant. And what happens in big complexes nowadays is that sometimes you have this certain common lights which keep running through the day. So with AI, with machine learning, it senses not just how many lights are on, but are people really occupying that area or approaching that area? If not, it switches off the lights, right? So the savings, the financial savings, I think it's just AI and machine learning, I think, are the way to go ahead. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And although technology, like I think Web 3.0, right? It's still not ready for use, I think, but because of his, it's going to be a decentralized way of using the internet. So right now, when we use the internet, we don't have any control, right? So all the cookies, everything is dictated by the service provider or by the websites, right? So here, I think you're going to have a much higher degree of control over how you access the internet and the way you deal with it. And I think, very honestly, we are just at the tip of the iceberg with respect to something like Web 3.0. I mean, the real world implications and applications as well. It's too difficult or too magnanimous to kind of comprehend right now. But I think it's going to change completely the way we use technology, I think, on the internet.
So we're building a community here of industry magnates. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. What are your thoughts about this initiative taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Heval Mehta, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
Right, that's a very nice question. I think, Tanay, I think it's a very brilliant initiative by Zishan and Heval. I think they have successfully managed to pull off at least 2 parallel things which are brilliant. Which is, first, they have given a chance for the experienced professionals to kind of structure their understanding with respect to ESG and corporate governance and all the other aspects of the courses which they have, and kind of release or channelize that knowledge in a very constructive way, right? So what happens is it's like having a cluttered room. I think your experience is like having a cluttered room, right? So you have what you need, you just don't know where it is, right? So pulling it out becomes difficult, right, when you need it. So I think having a structured way like this kinds of gives professionals like me or people who are senior to me maybe the opportunity to have a structured application of the information which they have collected with respect to their experience. I think also second thing which it does is that if you look at it 20 years back maybe, ESG or corporate governance as a field was nowhere on the radar with respect to it being a career choice. I think what they have done very successfully is that I might be too bold to say this, but I think they have planted the seeds of what could become a potential career move for people who are just getting out of their bachelor's and master's degrees, maybe, or have just started off as professional. I think that it's a brilliant initiative, and I think something like the Directors Institute is. I think it's the need of the hour to keep up with the changing nature of corporates, right? We have all seen what happens when cases like Satyam and all those corporates go down, right? So I think it's the need of the hour to have something which the Directors Institute is directing us to go in, and I think it's a very strong effort to go in a better corporate future for everyone.
Great, sir. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will truly inspire future leaders. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir.
Thank you so much.
I wish you the best for your future endeavors, sir. Trust that this initiative by Directors Institute unquestionably has expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Have a great day ahead.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.